Good. Okay. I will call the regular meeting for Tuesday, April 5th, 2022 to order. The time is 6:30. If everybody please rise for a moment of silence. I will pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item is consent agenda. We have none. Item 5 is citizens' comments. Do you have anything, Mindy?
I have a comment. We're still having problems with our trash, and I'd like to know, hopefully the city is working on it.
So, yes, we are aware, and I did get a complaint, that complaint pushed forward on the specific one that you said. And we are also going to be adding that onto the agenda next month, or I'm sorry, next meeting, because we just received a letter from Waste Connections that we need to review. So.
Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Next item is presentation. Item A, the 2021 financial audit presentation by Snow Garrett Williams, item 22095. Come on up, Kathy.
Told you we'd put you first. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Kathy Williams, a partner with Snow Garrett Williams. I'm going to take you through a few items in your bound audit reports like I have in the past. As you mentioned, it's good reading material. There's a lot there, but I will not take you through every page. I'll just pick a few highlights and we'll go through those. We'll start on page 3, where you'll find the independent auditor's report. As you know, this is the report on the financial statements for the city for the year ended September 30th, 2021. It briefly states management's responsibility, the auditor's responsibility, and then at the bottom of page 3, you'll find our opinion, where it says there, in our opinion, the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So that is that clean, or what's called an unmodified opinion, that you as council want to see. If you'll turn now over to page 7 in the management's discussion and analysis, you'll see here the government-wide financial analysis, and we'll take a look at those total columns on the right-hand side of page 7, where you'll see that the total assets, and then this has your governmental activities as well as your business type activities. Total assets increased from $16,072,000 to over $18,285,000. So an increase of over $2.2 million in total assets for the city as a whole. And most of that it's all related to capital assets. You have a lot of big projects going on right now. And then the total net position there towards the bottom increased from almost 5.5 million to over 6.2 million, almost $6.3 million. And that's good to see too, that increase of over $1.5 million in your net position. That's just, you're trying, and you can really see it in the business type and the water and sewer fund, which is the business type activities, where you see the unrestricted net position increase from that negative 108 to $1.4 million. So that's, as you all know, one of your big goals, one of your financial goals has been to preserve and increase that net position. And this is at least a start in doing that and heading in the right direction. If you'll turn over to page 10, on page 10 towards the bottom, you'll see capital assets. And I had mentioned you have several large projects going on. You had additions for the last year, capital asset additions that were over $3 million and included your Memorial Park facility upgrades, a water line project, fire station rebuild, and then beginning the City Hall Annex, and Civic Center rebuild. So like I said, you've got a lot of big projects going on, and we'll see that in several places throughout these financial statements. And then over on page 11 on the next page, your total capital assets at the end of September of 21 were over $9.9 million, and that is net of depreciation. That includes $5.4 million for your governmental activities, which is mostly your general fund, not entirely, and then your business type activities for your water and sewer system of $4.5 million. Your outstanding debt at the end of September was at $9,568,948. That decreased slightly from the prior year as a result of issuing the tax notes of $525,000 minus your regularly scheduled payments. Now, if you'll turn to page 16, we'll take a look at the individual fund statements. We'll start with your governmental funds. Again, here you'll see total assets, and these are on more of a current basis. At this point, they don't include your capital assets. So your total assets were $4,021,536 for all of your governmental funds, and most of that is in cash and cash equivalents. Your total liabilities on the right-hand side were $1,062,135. That includes accounts payable and accrued expenses for September expenses that were paid in October or the first part of November for a few of them. And then unearned revenue for the American Rescue Plan Act. There was grant money that had been received by the city, but had federal grant money that had not been spent at September 30th of 21. So that money will be spent in this upcoming year. And then total fund balances of $2,875,613 for your governmental funds. You'll turn over to the next page on page 17. Again, we're looking at your governmental funds. This one is the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balances. You'll see there total revenues of over $5.6 million, almost $5.7 million. Total expenditures of $7,296,512. And that includes $1,750,000 of capital outlay for those improvements and ongoing projects that you have. And then we have other financing sources and uses include your bond proceeds and the proceeds from the sale of assets. So those totaled $637,600. When we put all of that together, you actually had a net decrease in fund balances. And again, this is primarily because of the capital outlay. You can see that in every category. So you're using those fund balance reserves to cover that capital outlay and for those significant improvements that you had going on. Over on page 19, we'll start with your statement of net position for your enterprise fund, which is your water and sewer fund. You'll see here you had total assets at the end of September of $9,018,232. That included restricted cash of $4.1 million, which was primarily unspent bond proceeds. And then you also have your non-current assets, which are your capital assets of $4.5 million. Your total liabilities towards the bottom of the page were almost $6.4 million, and that included $1.8 million of current liabilities and then your non-current liabilities of $4.6 million. And your ending net position for your water and sewer fund was $2,615,344. On the next page, again, with your water and sewer fund, you'll find your statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. You had total operating revenues for the last fiscal year of $2,159,000. We subtract out your operating expenses of $1,753,000. That resulted in operating income of about $406,000 for the year. We add back your non-operating revenues, which is primarily some grant revenue, that intergovernmental revenue, a gain on the sale of an asset, and then it's net against your interest expense. So non-operating revenues totaling $106,718. And that resulted in an increase in your net position in your water and sewer fund of $512,645. Again, which is a very positive thing. I know it was difficult to increase rates the last year, but it is important as this water and sewer system continues to age and you have some significant improvements going on to be able to build up those reserves, have those funds available to pay off the debt that was issued, as well as to have it available for future repairs on your system. You'll turn now over to page 70. Everyone's favorite part when we skip all those pages. On page 70, you'll find the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. As that long title says, it covers two areas: internal control, and you'll see in the bottom of that section that we have a significant deficiency that we've identified that we'll go over. And then there were no instances of non-compliance that have to be reported to you at the bottom of the page under compliance. And then over on page 72, you'll find the schedule of findings and question costs. And this is just a good summary. This is a required schedule when you spend over $750,000 of federal funds, you're required to have what's called a single audit. And this schedule is required by the single audit, but it does a good summary. The top section talks about your financial statements and says that it was an unmodified report that was issued. It said that we did not identify any material weaknesses or non-compliance. It goes through that we had no findings related to your federal awards. It identifies your major federal award that was received in the last year or spent in the last year is related to the capitalization grants for drinking water and from the state revolving funds. And then the finding is there on the bottom, the internal controls over financial reporting. We identified a significant deficiency because there were adjusting journal entries necessary to correct and adjust some account balances at year end. The effect here is there were two areas that had significant entries, and that included an entry for workers' compensation payable and related expenditures, as well as adjustments for capital asset balances at year end. There were several things that contributed to this. There were some changes in the system. There were some unusual transactions that occurred in the last year. We have gone over all of this with your finance director. She has all of the entries. They're all entered in your system. And we feel like a lot of it just is because there were some unusual things that happened in the 21 fiscal year. Over on the top of page 73, you'll see there that we commend the city on developing and adopting a comprehensive financial management policy and encourage you to continue implementing those policies to maintain strong internal controls, to go ahead and reconcile some of the reconciliations between different systems and recording financial transactions, including capital asset activity, as those things occur, just so that you have more useful and accurate reports throughout the year. Over on page 75, you will find actually the city's response to that corrective action plan. And you'll see there just the same thing that I mentioned before, the bottom part of that, where it is stated that the city will continue to implement new policies and procedures as necessary to maintain strong internal controls related to our financial reporting and monitoring. As I mentioned, many of those entries were related to unusual or extraordinary situations that are not expected to occur again in the near future. However, the city will continue to work with us to reduce the number of adjusting journal entries and handle these unusual situations as they come up. It's just, it's not easy to know, especially like I said, when you have so many things going on. Sometimes we just, until we get into all of the details and working on the audit, we don't identify those items. So, but we'll be happy to help in whatever way we can. And we appreciate your staff in helping us get the answers to our questions, all of the information that we need, and helping us put everything together to be able to present this report to you. So we do have a management letter in the back. It covers on page 2 of the management letter several of the things that we've already talked about. Adjusting journal entries and fixed assets we've talked about several times in those other areas. And then budget variances. We just recommend that the city continue reviewing budget items, budget reports closely and making amendments to the budget if it's necessary. So a lot of information and I went really fast, but if you have questions, I'll be glad to try and answer them.
Anybody have any questions for Pam?
On page 72, up where, up under internal control over financial reporting, there's a yes. What is that for?
That is for that finding that's there on the bottom. That's all that's telling you, where it says significant deficiencies identified that are not considered to be material weaknesses. That's answered yes, because we have that finding on the bottom of the page.
Kathy, it might be helpful. Can you explain the difference between a significant deficiency and a material weakness?
It really is just the biggest difference. A material weakness is worse. I'll put it that way. A significant deficiency does not rise to the level of a material weakness. A material weakness means there is something in your system, that is in your accounting system or in your controls, that is not working properly. And it rises to the level of being what we consider a material weakness. That, and even on these audit adjustments, if the dollar amounts had been more significant or there had been a greater, if we had seen something recurring throughout the year instead of these unusual and extraordinary type transactions, it could have risen to that level. But it is definitely more serious to have what is considered to be a material weakness than it is a significant deficiency.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I can, one thing that we haven't done in the past, like council's done, is we haven't really taken this audit. We look at this audit report on a year-to-year basis, and you compare last year to this year, we haven't looked at this on a broad scope. And so I took the liberty of going onto our website and pulling our financial audits all the way back from 2012 to now to kind of get a performance history of what's gone on in the city over the last 10 years. And after looking at that, I was kind of surprised, and I wanted to just share some pretty impactful takeaways after reviewing that data. One of which Kathy already mentioned, a $1.5 million increase in the total unrestricted net position in 1 year. This is also the first increase that we have seen in the total net position since 2014. The increase that we saw in 2014 was only $42,000. This is the first year that we've seen an increase in government activities unrestricted net position since 2014. This is the first year that we've seen an increase in government activities total net position since 2014. This is a 10-year record high business type activities total net position of $2.6 million. And this is the first year that we've seen a total net position increase, and that increase was $780,000. So I think when you take the totality of the circumstances, considering what we've had to work with over the last couple of years, the pandemic, and then take that and include all of the investments and projects and things that the city has taken on, I think council's making the right decisions going forward on how we have made the changes to the operations and the improvements that we're doing, because we're able to provide these improvements to the city within all the infrastructure, as well as slowly improve our financial position within the city. So I think it's important to highlight and see that trend over the last 10 years as well.
Thank you for that.
Yes,
Kathy, I guess we're done with you. But thank you for showing up, and I appreciate the good news.
Yes.
I know we always, sometimes we dread these reports, but
Well, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your business, and it is exciting to see so many positive changes going on around the city. I've worked on this audit for a long time, and it's really
Yeah.
nice to see so many, like I said, just positive changes that we've not seen in the past. So
it's been a
Thank you,
very
Kathy.
long time. So,
thank y'all very much. Have a good evening.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
too.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
next item B, the introduction of new librarian, Rosalinda Leon, item 22099.
Rosie, you want to come on up? We just want to take the opportunity. She's had the opportunity now to meet most of the members of the library board when we had the little luncheon going away at the library board held for Billy. And Rosie comes to us. She does not have, we're just being transparent, she doesn't have any library experience. She has tremendous customer service experience and management experience that's really going to help her in this role. She has a lot of good ideas and things that we were excited about when we interviewed her. And we think she's going to be a true key player in what happens in the library and the improvements that we're hoping to see in the library. With Rosie stepping in as a librarian, we've also promoted one of the other members in the library as a program coordinator. She has a lot of good ideas about programs she wants to implement interacting with children, and then providing specialty services to our Hispanic population to help them learn English and other sorts of programs that we just haven't had to offer. So I think Rosie coupled with Eliza would be a great combination. I'm excited to have Rosie here and on board with us. So we just want to take the opportunity to introduce you to her. So you have the chance to ask her any questions, throw her on the grill, whatever you want to do.
Oh, you didn't have to.
Rosie?
I'm just kidding.
Hi.
Is it Rosie, or do you like Rosalinda?
Rosie's fine.
Okay, Miss Rosie, I'm going to ask this question. Would you please remove your mask so we can see your face? There you are. Okay, thank you. You can put it back. I just have to see a face. Okay, my first question is going to be, who's in control of changing the library sign?
We're all over that.
Okay.
As of right now, it's me. I've been.
Oh, good.
Yes.
My new best friend.
Welcome.
We were able to hire her with about a week and a half of overlap time.
Yeah.
So she was able to work with Billy and get trained up on everything. So we're really excited to have her on board.
That sign is about 22 years old, at least 20
Oh,
years
wow.
old. Yeah. So it's seen better days.
Okay,
But Miss Mackey doesn't like to see the same thing
okay,
for a month.
okay. We gotta
Don't worry,
change
she'll
it.
text me about
Maybe
it.
once a week.
I do.
You'll receive emails from us. So-
Anyway, I
Do
just
you have
wanted,
anything to add?
Say
Anything?
that.
Hopefully we'll have a new one. Well, I'm just excited to be here and just, if y'all come by the library, I can work with y'all. If y'all have any questions, I'm just very excited to be here with you. And I mean, I'm from Everman. I've been here 13 years, so
cool.
I'm very familiar with the area. So I'm just very
You just
excited.
answered my question. I'm gonna ask you if you
Yes.
lived in Everman.
Yes.
Well, welcome aboard. Glad to
Thank you
have you very
much.
much.
Thank
so
you.
Okay, next item C, proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month, item 22096. Proclamation declaring April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, whereas children are the future and our greatest resource, and whereas every child deserves a nurturing family and safe environment to grow into a healthy, productive member of the community, and whereas child abuse is one of our nation's most serious public health problems and threatens the safety of our community. And whereas in Tarrant County, 6,511 children were confirmed as victims of child abuse or neglect in 2021. And whereas Alliance for Children provided trauma-informed services to 2,497 children in 2021. And whereas finding solutions to prevent child abuse is a community responsibility and depends on the involvement of all citizens. And whereas effective child abuse prevention, investigation, and treatment programs succeed because of partnerships among public and private agencies, schools, religious organizations, medical services, and the business community. Be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Everman that we declare appreciation to the members of the Alliance for Children organization and proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the City of Everman. We urge all citizens to work together to help reduce child abuse and neglect significantly in the years to come. Oh, all right, that's a mouthful. And I got another one.
Let's have a couple of photos.
Yes.
Wanted to include our partners as well in this acceptance.
Come on in, Morgan.
Scooch
Act
in
like-
there.
act like you like to see the Perfect.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, I don't know.
Appreciate it.
I guess my brain was somewhere else while he was there.
Is there two? Very wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mayor Richard, for this proclamation, and also to our city council members and our community. Of course, we'd love to acknowledge our partners, our detectives that work these child abuse cases in Everman. And so we want to make sure that people are aware of our partnership and know that we exist as well. We are in the behind the scenes and working these cases, but these are the faces of Everman and the people that are truly helping those victims of child abuse. And because of the pandemic, it meant closed doors for a lot of these children. And so, but our doors remained open. Our services were still around, and we're looking forward to continue to provide our services as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beverly, did you prepare a speech on that?
Okay, next
Well, I told you
item
really
D,
can't.
proclamation, Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, item 22100. Proclamation declaring April 10th to the 16th, 2022 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas public safety dispatchers are often the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas dispatchers at the Everman Emergency Services Communications Center answered over 15,000 calls for service in 2021, and provide police, fire, and EMS dispatching services for the city of Everman. And whereas public safety dispatchers of the Everman Emergency Services Communications Center has contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each and every dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now therefore it be proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Everman that we declare appreciation to the dispatchers of the Everman Emergency Services Communications Center, and proclaim April 10th through 16th, 2022 as Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the City of Everman. We urge all citizens to join in honoring all Everman Emergency Services dispatchers.
Wanna come on up?
It's a photo op. Come on up.
She's like,
So does this mean everybody gets a bonus?
I'm sorry,
bonus. What?
Yes, that's true.
You both get one.
You ready? Sure. That'd make you laugh a little bit, get a smile. Perfect. I asked her if she prepared a speech like the last.
I've been on the other end.
These are for all.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Okay, next item, item 7, discussion items. Item A, discussion and potential selection of a date for city staff to host a town hall meet and greet. Item 22097.
So this was actually, when we had our budget period last year, Councilwoman Allen actually brought up and wanted to receive some more citizen input on budget and projects and things that were happening around the city. Our Civic Center across the street is expected to be completed by the end of May. Therefore, I think what would be a good idea, considering the time of year, is to host a town hall meet and greet. This would actually be an opportunity for citizens to come up and interact with the directors of every department. The meeting would consist of a pretty short presentation for everybody as a whole, talking about the various projects and things that the city's been working on here recently and looking to move forward on. And then it would kind of recess from that, giving all citizens an opportunity to interact with the directors over the department that they wish to talk with and just interact with and get that citizen feedback directly from our citizens. The directors would then take that information into consideration when working on the budget and obviously compile that to present back to you as council. Council is, of course, also invited to participate in this if you would like. It's completely up to you. But I do think it's a good idea to get that citizen feedback and input on the budget and how we spend our funds. So this would provide a good opportunity for that. We all know that how often do we have a public hearing here for the budget? And I don't think I've ever seen anybody comment on anything related to the budget. So I think just advertising this and marketing it well and getting that citizen feedback while we're working on budget and preparing budget, it would be more impactful from the citizens.
I think going forward, we should have at least a couple of them a year.
Okay.
I agree. So the different department chairs will be at different tables around the room and we can go up to whichever one that we're interested in talking.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
Do you have a date in mind that you're looking at?
I would look, yeah, it's kind of dependent upon the final completion date. Right now, we're told the end of May, so I would expect to maybe schedule this sometime in mid to late June would probably be the most beneficial. The question I do want to pose to you is, do you think it would be more impactful to have this on a Saturday, or would you prefer a weeknight? What do you think is going to be best for the citizens to show up?
Saturday. When you
Okay.
get home in the evening, the last thing you want to do is rush through supper and go do something governmental. At least on Saturday, you've had a chance to sleep late a little bit.
Okay.
Budget.
And
if you're waiting, you
Yeah,
have to wait. till
plus
the
the
end of
fact
June, we're
too,
gonna be well into
You do
budget.
realize that there's gonna be probably some angry citizens.
Yes, but I think,
So that's gonna have to be something to,
I think most of the directors are okay with that. I mean, it's part of our job is to address the tough questions.
That is fine.
And we're okay with that and I'm okay with that. We've got to have the tough answers for the tough questions.
Well, we
So.
should have a lot of officers there anyway, right?
Well, that, it should
Just
be
in
open
case.
to the
Always.
community to voice their opinions anyway. That's what town hall meeting.
Right.
for.
Yes, but as long as they do it.
Oh, decent and in
politely.
order,
I'm
exactly.
talking about some really angry type people.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we'll deal with that.
Yeah, we've hosted when we had the town hall meetings related to the flood.
Yeah.
I think the difference here will be that this, I wouldn't want it to be an open public forum Q&A where one person asks a question, everybody
No.
feeds. I want.
That's useless.
Well, I agree. It doesn't grant everybody the opportunity to ask the
Yes.
questions that they feel are important to them. And then it doesn't really give the answers that everybody wants. So
Right.
I think getting that one-on-one time with
Yes.
directors, we'll talk about all the projects and things that we've got going on, the highlights of what we're looking at budget. And then it gives the directors an opportunity and the citizens an opportunity to get one-on-one directly with
Yes.
the people that they should be working with to get the feedback they need to build their budget.
Yes, I like that a lot. So end of June?
No.
As early as possible. If they tell us May 31st is the opening date, then maybe early June.
Okay. I'll be retired by
Because
then,
we'll be
so.
in the budget process.
So we gotta wait and see what's gonna happen across the street before we
Yes.
consider that. Okay.
Cool. Well, keep
Any
us up to date.
Any
Sounds
other
great.
comments, questions?
No, I like it.
Okay, next item, item B, CDBG CV 2022 additional funding. Craig Spencer, item 22101.
So Tarrant County has put out notice, an RFP again for CDBG coronavirus funding. The first round that was submitted, the city of Everman submitted a RFP for the inclusive playground over at Pittman Park, and that's what's funding that project. This is another round of that funding. Here's the caveat to that. Because we've already received funding from round one, we are going to be at the bottom of the list to be selected to receive funding. And any cities that have not already received CDBG CV funding are going to get their funding first.
Mhm.
So there's a pretty good chance we may not get funding at all for this. However, I don't want to just not put in for it. I think it'd be beneficial to put in for it. If no other cities get allocation, then we still stand a chance of getting this project funded. The amount on this RFP is anywhere between $75,000 to $500,000. I took the liberty of consulting with the Director of Public Works. There's really two areas within this project that we can focus these funds on. And really, it's either park improvements or water line infrastructure improvements. Both areas this last year and currently, we've invested a lot of money into and have gotten a lot of grant funds to go into. But one of the areas that is of concern as we look at continuing development is Forest Hill Drive. We know that funding is in place and plans are in place for the expansion and rebuild of Forest Hill Drive. And we have not had the opportunity to address the infrastructure underneath that roadway. So after consulting with our Director of Public Works, Mr. Ramirez, he believes that would be the target, a prime opportunity for us to focus these funds on that project. We did go ahead and take the liberty of asking our city engineer to provide us with an updated estimate for that project. That updated estimate came in at $501,000. So it wouldn't be much more for the city to contribute to make that project happen. But I just wanted to get a consensus from council tonight. If you're okay with us moving forward, we have a tight deadline on this project, so we have to submit this by April 30th. If I get the consensus from you tonight and a good head nod, then I'll tell the city engineer to move forward. He'll take care of submitting this through Tarrant County on our behalf.
Okay.
If you don't like that project, we can look at other options, but it would pretty much be limited to either waterline infrastructure or parks. Many of the other projects listed within here, we don't qualify for because of income based or we don't need broadband. We already have broadband here. We don't meet the qualifications there either.
So are you thinking of when it rains and if the water sits right there in that intersection and the kids walking home from Souder walk through the water? Are you thinking to improve the underground, the drainage of that water?
Not with this fund. So this fund has to go towards water lines specifically, not storm drainage.
Okay,
But what we are doing with RTC when we rebuild Forest Hill Drive is they will be addressing storm drainage.
okay.
And they're-
Because I know you know, it's a mess.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But the storm drainage along Forest Hill Drive is being addressed as a part of the road expansion project
Okay.
there as well. He talked about, and don't give me, I don't want to lie here or tell you, but he was talking about new engineering ideas such as controlled culverts and things that just haven't been used by municipalities in the past. So they've got some pretty creative ideas on what they want to use. All this is a new program, and Everman is the first city in the state to look at implementing programs like these. So it's
As long as
it's
it
really
works.
cool. Yes. as long as it works.
So is Tarrant County, the part that they're going to do on Forest Hill Drive is not related to what you're talking about?
Correct. Yeah, we're talking about two different phases of the project.
Okay.
So RTC is going to fund the road rebuild and expansion.
Mhm.
We have not addressed the water line underneath that road.
Gotcha.
So
And
that's
then
our
I brought in
recommendation is to
stormwater, yeah.
use, potentially use these funds if we can get it
Yeah.
allocated to us
No, I like it.
for that improvement.
Yes.
So how old are the lines? Are they the old cast
they-
iron like?
Yes, they're older lines, but we have not,
At least they're not clay.
we haven't had many issues on that street, but it's better to replace it now, as we know, the lines will deteriorate if it's not. It's better to replace it now before we put a brand new 4-lane concrete roadway on top of it.
Okay, so if they don't approve the water lines, are you needing a second option?
We're going to have to look and weigh the risk to benefit here over the next budget year and see if we can fund this alternatively if we don't
Okay.
get funding elsewhere.
Well, no, what I'm saying is if they don't approve our application for this, do you have a second item that you're looking at to see if they'll fund?
You can't
No,
submit
we
without-
can only submit one project.
Okay,
So if they
gotcha.
deny this one, we're denied altogether.
Okay, understand.
Everybody in agreement to move forward?
Yes, please, yes.
Okay.
Okay, next item C, completion of the Form 2201 Statement of Officer, Anti-Bribery Statement, and renewed oath of office for all elected and appointed positions, item 22102.
Can we hand these out? Okay. This is the anti-bribery sheet. Okay. As we talked about with the city attorney, all of us need to complete an anti-bribery statement. That's this form right here. You don't have to swear it out or read it out loud or anything, but you do have to execute it. So if you just want to fill that out real quick and sign it.
I already did that. I'll sign the one I brought.
PD already done theirs?
Thank you.
You already done
Doesn't have
his?
to. The attorney
Oh, they
gave-
don't.
the attorney gave me the clear opinion. They do not have to.
Okay, so who else?
Just anybody that council appoints. So all other board members, y'all appointed Mindy, so Mindy and then myself as well. So all boards and commissions will have to complete that.
Okay, I'm executed.
And then once we
Maybe I
get
should
these
say
all
that.
filled out, Mindy is going to give us all the oath of office.
All right,
Yes.
fifth. Better be, I've been writing 4 or 5 on everything today.
So I didn't think of that. If you serve on multiple boards, you probably need, or if you serve on boards aside from council, probably need to get you to fill out another one of these for that specific board.
Oh,
Okay.
well, how many have you got? Maybe we could just put for the following committees and,
We could just put it on the same
Yeah, they can
one?
put it all in the same one, right? They're currently appointed all. They can just put it all in the
Yeah,
same one.
actually, yeah.
Okay. that'll work.
Right here
Just
where
put
it
a
says the
comma
elected and
and-
appointed.
Yes.
Let's see.
TIF, Animal Control Board. I'm gonna put TIF because I
Oh.
can't remember.
Do we need to do the ones that council is the board,
No,
the TIF and,
no, because the ordinance is what makes the council the BOA. So you don't have to worry about TIF or
okay.
BOA.
Two more, yeah.
What else are we on?
Are you on the animal advisory?
Yes, we got them. We're even up to date on our meetings. Wow. What? Build? Oh.
No, just do them all. You want me to hand them out?
Well, I can do that.
Okay. Yeah, no, just do them all at the same time. They can read it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll draw a line through Tiff. I think I'm on another committee. I just did the cleaning.
Before Linda was here, she got to do it all by herself.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, is this the official one you want?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So do we list all of our committees on this one?
That's,
I will. I'll put
Everyone, oh, this says,
that. I just have council there. You'll have another one.
okay, thank you. Oh, so this is a snazzy one. So Mindy, do you want the white copy or the beige copy? Mindy, do you want the white copy or the beige copy?
Those are different.
Both.
I need both.
One's a statement of anti-bribery statement. The other one is the oath of office.
so this one, we just signed it up here,
Yes.
and then the rest is yours.
Signature of officer is us. Okay. Too many choices.
Swear everybody in.
Oh.
You want to have?
Shouldn't we stand? Shouldn't we stand?
Get trying to abide by the rules.
That's right. So I state your name.
Susan
Mackey.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
Or affirm.
Or affirm
That I will faithfully.
that I will faithfully
Execute the duties of.
execute the duties of
The office of.
the office of
Everman City Council.
Everman City Council
Of the state of Texas.
of the state of Texas
And will to the best of my ability.
and will to the best of my ability
Preserve.
preserve,
Protect and defend.
protect, and defend
The Constitution and laws.
the Constitution and laws
Of the United States.
of the United States
And this state.
and this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, y'all get to.
There we go. You want both of them?
Let's not do that again.
All right. Wait, don't our congressmen do that too? I don't think they're defending the Constitution.
No, it's just a recommendation.
I think they're stripping it apart, white out all over the Constitution.
Ready? Okay. Next item D, discussion regarding future plans of the Everman Historical Society and continued use of the Everman Public Library, item 22103.
So this question has kind of been posed and talked about a little bit over at the public library side on the library board. And then staff has talked about it a little bit too. As you probably know, the Everman Historical Society uses a room that's within the public library.
Conference room.
And there's a lot of neat artifacts in there. There's, I mean, all the old newspapers from Everman, and there's some very beautiful paintings on the walls and some neat artifacts. And it's kind of just been closed off. Hasn't been seen or used in quite some time. Obviously, COVID plays a part of that. It's been hard for the Historical Society to get together, but I don't know that they've had the opportunity to really be that active either. So just kind of wanted to get some guidance from council on maybe how you would want to move forward. If we need to start the discussions with the Historical Society, what the staff has wanted to do for a little while is really just open that room up and kind of rope it off to where at least the items in there can be viewed and people know that it's there. Staff also have talked about in the past, maybe wanting to host some programs in there and discuss a little bit about specific Everman history. You know, I went to school in Arlington when I went to elementary school, and we learned a lot about Arlington history. And I don't know that the school district here teaches anything about Everman history or Fort Worth
It
history.
does not. No.
So maybe giving an opportunity for young kids to learn about Everman and just kind of really enjoy the history that we have with it. It's a pretty neat room, but it's closed off. So I don't know. I know the mayor knows who all's on the Historical Society. I don't know if we need to strike up a conversation with them and see where this needs to go, but we wanted to bring it to your attention and get an idea from council.
I have talked to a couple of them, and one of them said that he was all for it. So I talked to one today, and her only concern was just putting a rope on there. Little kids could still get in there, and there's a lot of glass stuff and pictures and stuff, and she just didn't want anything walking off that they accumulated over the years. I don't think she had an issue with people seeing it. She even said she would come up, and she'd be glad to come up and visit and, show the room or whatever. Even when I told her about the ideas that the librarian had, I recommended to her that we invite, when we start the meetings back up, to invite Rosalinda to the meetings and let her learn some of the history of the city of Everman.
Is it a matter of needing display cases for some of the
No, they've got
items?
display cases, but
Because I know we
they're
have,
old cases. They've got glass tops and stuff. I mean, we're
Fragile
talking
glass.
hand blown glass on
Mm.
some of them. They don't want obviously they don't want the paintings vandalized.
Right.
I mean, those are huge paintings. That's our history. They have pictures of some of the old houses and stuff in Everman. They don't want somebody come in there and say, hey, that's the house I live in. And that picture walks off.
Right.
Mhm.
So they just
Concern.
have concerns.
Mhm.
They just want to make sure their stuff's protected. If we could do away with,
Well, certainly, and I think that's our position too. We want to protect it. We certainly don't want to put any of that at risk. So maybe we come up with a plan on how best to protect it while displaying it.
What about the building that was purchased or whatever that was designated to be the Historical Society building or whatever?
You beat me to it.
So a couple concerns there. It's an absolutely great concept, and it's really neat that it's one of the original buildings here in Everman.
Mhm.
But it needs some work.
A lot of
And
work.
we just have not been in the best financial position to invest in that just yet.
Right.
We did have contractors go out there and look at it. Mayor, do you remember what those projected costs were? I think it was 120, 130
you know what, I don't
in
remember.
there for roof work and then a lot of the things to really get it to where it needed to be. The other thing to kind of keep in mind is if we're going to open that up to the public, that's going to require staffing of some sort. Whether it's a part-timer that goes over there and does it, or we reallocate somebody from another department to handle that. Somewhere there's going to be cost associated with that because staff is going to have to manage it.
Okay, so what was the purpose of purchasing it for that to begin with?
Well, I think it's a good investment to hold on to. I just don't think we're at the stage right now as a city to jump on that project and expand on it.
Have y'all thought about renovating the library? I mean, they need room for story time and other things like that.
As far as like adding on to the library.
Yes.
It's the thoughts cross the mind. I just don't know that we've been in a financial position to do that just yet.
Well, I mean, we've not been in a position to finance a lot of things, but we still have them. I mean, we purchased a house over on the side. I mean, like I said, I think we need to look into renovating the library because I mean, we're talking about story time and then offering classes possibly. That would be a good opportunity to have it there as well.
I think that's maybe partially what prompted
Yeah.
this discussion, was the actual use of that front room. Because right now it's just sitting there and, it was used by the library before. That's additional space that could be used.
But I think they used to hold music lessons or something in there.
That
It
was,
was a
yeah, that was
conference
in
room. One
the
of those.
back
Used it.
conference room, but yeah, so mainly the library board wanted to know what the intentions were for the Historical Society, whether they were gonna stay in that front room forever, or whether
Well,
they were gonna
but they're
move, or
there
whether we were
until
gonna
we-
open it up, or.
We're there until we can get them in the other building, which we don't have the funds right now. And-
Next door to us.
What about it for use of what? For the
Historical Society.
Yeah.
It's not
No.
in, it's not in.
That bad?
Yeah.
It needs work.
Yes, ma'am.
I
We're-
didn't know. Are they planning on starting to meet all the time again?
Yeah, they're hoping to.
Yeah.
One of the members lost her husband and
Yeah.
she broke her hip. So she's having a very difficult
Double
time
whammy.
getting around.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much she'll be involved, but and you got to remember the members are all in their 80s. So, I mean, I show up, I'm the young one there, so. And then they lost one of their members. He passed away 2 months ago. So they're wanting to get younger people in there to teach them the history of the city. So there's a lot of knowledge there. So
Can we put up something like that? Plexiglass stuff over there that, you know, you can just see but not touch
Well,
anything.
one recommendation was that room to the right of it, put a window in. That vacant room that I don't know if it gets used or not.
There's a conference room. And people,
There's the painting, is that painting mounted or is it?
are you talking about the mural?
Yeah.
That's actually on the wall.
Would it be possible to, when the annex is complete, to move it over to one of the conference rooms until it gets decided or something?
That would be less safe there, I would think.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if
no.
it's in a room that's locked or whatever, I mean,
It would just
it's not
limit the
any
use.
difference than over here and it's in a
It
room,
would just
so.
limit the use and ability to rent that out.
Yeah.
Would be all.
I like the plexiglass idea to, at least you can, you know, put up some girders or whatever they're called to support it, but you can't get in there, but you can at least stand there and look. That would protect it, but keep it
And
open.
then if someone's renting the conference room, then that's not available to be viewed. I'm just.
What if we do a
Think it was
storefront?
I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like anymore.
Well, isn't it just like a little museum? I mean, is that not what we want? Is that not the concept of
Yeah,
it?
I mean,
It is, but we
Museum,
don't want people to be able to, like a museum, you don't want them touching unless it's a touchy
But
feely
will
thing.
they just walk in there with nobody there supervising it? I mean, is that what
But
we're
they
talking
could if the
about?
door was open, they could walk in.
Well,
And we don't
and
want,
that's just, we're just trying to
And we don't
get
want
it
that.
out in the open, but you know, whether we want to require library staff to be in there, obviously to monitor, you know, make sure nobody's touching, whatever. But
Like have tours at this time and this time or something.
Yeah,
We could.
that's good.
That way you can have somebody there and then,
Like certain hours of the day,
Yeah.
Hey, it's a
2
new
to
thing to
3.
put on the library sign.
6 to 7.
Craig, we could also,
But only for a week.
we could also look at putting a glass door in there that we keep locked, you know. So people can still look through the door and see what's in there.
Yeah.
They could see some of it, the murals on this wall, though.
and
You
you
should be able to
set
see
a
that.
time for a tour, certain time during the day or
Yeah.
so, and.
Yeah.
Do we have a lot of people visiting at the same time, the library?
The library is picking up in patrons as we continue to move forward. I think
Good.
primarily the afternoon is the busiest part of the day.
Excellent.
Well, like I said, they just want to make sure their stuff is protected.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Oh, I do too. So.
We have,
Do you think we could set up a meeting with them possibly
Oh, yeah.
to discuss any of this? Okay.
I mean, I can get the main one, and maybe two, we might have to go get Martha, I don't know.
Okay.
But her and her sister are the main two, and then Jerry Giger.
we also had a citizen came in last
that?
week and she has,
I think so. What were you saying?
we had a citizen come in last week and she has several donations that she's been trying to get over to the Historical Society. She's like, I knock on that door. I'm like, yeah, they don't, they're not in there.
Well, you know,
but-
they can always drop them off, and I put them in my office till I can get them over there. So, because they consider me part of their group, so the mayors are always,
Oh, so it's your fault.
the mayors are always present for their meetings, so.
Okay.
But Jim always was, and I'm kind of a honorary member, so,
Yeah, if we can set up a meeting, I think that'd be most beneficial. That way
Yeah.
we could talk through all this and come
Yeah.
up with a game plan to move forward.
okay.
What's Martha's
Yes.
sister's name?
Faye Elder.
Faye Elder, thank you.
I don't see why we can't just set up tour times in certain days and have times for tours.
Right.
That's
we- yeah,
fine, but
we
we'll need to
support that.
know, because I'll,
Well,
yeah,
I
it's
think we
staffing.
pose that question to them. They may be on board with it. I mean,
Okay.
they might even come up and,
You could do the rope things then too, you know, for the tour.
Stanchions, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a lot of good ideas over there.
is that all you needed for that?
That's it.
Okay. So next item, consideration possible action. Item A, approve the City of Everman Sports Field Event Rental Agreement Contract and authorize the city manager to execute said contract as needed. Item 22098.
Before you entertain a motion on this, Mayor, on this item, I did receive a request from change. So Frank Ramirez, he's back there. He is now the president of the Everman Sports Association. That was announced at opening day this last week. He did make a request that we amend the term of this contract for football. Instead of starting on July 1st, to start on June 1st.
June.
And that's just to incorporate their Saturday football sessions that they do in preseason stuff.
And so if we're going to amend it, there's some,
I did not write this, the city attorney did, so.
But in the motion, we
I'll
just say
leave
as
it in.
amended, right?
I'm
So we
sorry,
just say as amended
as amended, yes.
in the motion.
Okay,
Frankie, you want to come up here and
He's like,
don't sit back here and be quiet now? I mean, if anybody's got any questions,
I do, I'm sorry, your name was Frank
Yes, ma'am.
Ramirez?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
let's get a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve item 22098 as amended for June 1 starting date instead of July 1.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Anybody got any questions or comments? for Frankie?
Yes, I do. On number 3 on the first page, where it's saying the amount of 1,500 annually, as well as any other fees or costs, what other fees or costs are you referencing?
That's gonna be if anything pops up in accordance with the city of Everman's fee schedule. So for example, if they want to, the sports association wants to take out a permit to redo the baseball field. I'm trying to spitball here, but it would have to be something that's in line with the city of Everman fee schedule. I don't anticipate, and I can't think of anything right off the bat that would include
Permit-wise, stuff like that.
permit wise, anything like that they would need.
Got it.
That just means that they can't go out to the fields and do whatever they want
Whatever they
to
want,
without
right.
additional cost. They're still subject to any other fees or permits the city would impose on any other citizen.
Okay, and also you have the designated dates. Anything prior to that or before that, is it open?
Yes, and so that's kind of what started this whole contract review thing was prior to the football group would do a rental agreement. And when they started the rental agreement, it was always kind of a guesstimate. Well, we think we're going to start here. It's probably going to end right about here. And they would do one agreement for a certain amount. Baseball spring season would do an agreement for a certain amount. And then fall season would do an agreement for a certain amount. So instead of going through all these agreements, the plan here was to try to consolidate it all into one. It caused some confusion amongst staff because we weren't sure when the fields were really available to rent out to other parties, because we did get a call from somebody who wanted to rent out one of the baseball fields, and we had to call the association because we wanted to make sure we weren't double booking a field here. And we called the association and it was kind of, well, we've got some practices scheduled, so we want to lock these dates in. And during the time of this contract, it's exclusive use for the Everman Sports Association. Outside of these dates, it will be available for us to rent out if we have a group that wants to rent it. Somebody wants to do a kickball fundraiser out there on something completely unassociated with the city or the Everman Sports Association.
That would be the month of January.
Whatever period. Well, different fields, different times.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
different fields, different times. You've got December and January, all of December and January, some of November, some of February that's available, all of July, half of June, half of August. So those time periods will be available to rent out. This way, it kind of reaches a happy medium to where we're not double booking our fields.
Right.
It gives them what they need to be able to run their association with the confidence of not having to be concerned about it being double booked. And it still gives the city the ability to lease those fields out to generate that revenue that it needs to be able to put back into the fields for the improvements.
So we, the city, lease out the fields. The
Yes.
sports association does not.
Correct.
They cannot sublease.
Yeah, they cannot sublease. And that's written in here too. And that was written in the
That's all in.
previous one as well.
Okay.
They can't. sublease.
Frankie, the one thing
Yes,
I'd
sir.
like to see is baseball fields, football fields, whatever, that your coaches or parents take an active role in maybe picking up a little bit.
What has in here?
When you go out, well, no, when you go out there, you see a little bit of trash, and then we send our guys out. And which I know it's their job, but after hours and stuff, if you guys got a tournament or something, there's a little bit of trash, and spend a few minutes to pick up and throw it in the trash can. So
Absolutely.
And-
Do that.
And I think one thing to highlight too
Especially on the
is
weekend.
Yes.
Frankie brought, and I keep calling him Frankie, I'm sorry. Frank brought football back. And the relationship between the association and the city has really grown over the last 6 months. And it's really not, whereas before it was kind of a client versus customer kind of basis, and now it's really a partnership.
Right.
And not only is the association and the city in a partnership, but now the school district's in a partnership too.
Correct.
And so, they've worked really hard to kind of build these partnerships. And I think it's really going to show over the next couple of years as they continue to grow the program and we continue to invest in those programs. And we'll see the repercussions from that in a positive way as we see people visiting more of our businesses, stopping at our restaurants, stopping at our convenience stores. We see more city events. All that's really going to grow and pop with this partnership. So.
are you anticipating any other sports? I know you guys were trying to get softball teams together.
Yes.
Are you looking at
So,
soccer or anything like that?
yeah, so that's our next sport that we're looking at is soccer. So it's just finding somebody in place that can kind of step in and be in charge of that role. So that's the next goal, since we have the ability to, the field is multiverse here for the football field, it has the goals set up for soccer. Our community is definitely a community that can have,
Yes.
soccer invested in it. We know that. So that, and then we're also looking at adding basketball, hopefully towards the end of this year. If not, that's my definite goal for next
You're
year.
gonna keep it at the kid level though, right?
Keeping it at kid level.
Adults tear up our stuff.
No, we're
Oh, they do. They're horrible.
so just to give you just a little bit of background, with the football league, for example, that we're associated with, it doesn't go beyond 6th grade. And so
Okay.
you have to either be in kindergarten up to 6th grade only to participate. I know not a lot of the other leagues, they allow 13, 14-year-olds. We don't do that, which is good
Because
because
they need to be playing in school then.
they should be playing in school. And that's really the main focus that we have. So yeah, that's the goal for us as we move forward with the organization.
The other thing to highlight here is we eliminated the damage deposits associated here because that was, I think I talked about that last time we brought this up to council. The damage deposits were really meaningless. I mean, they would make the deposit, we would refund them. There was no way to prove who caused the damage and how would the association be responsible for that damage when our city fields are insured. It's our responsibility to maintain them anyway. So we just eliminated that and came to the average cost that they were normally paying as a consolidation of renting all the fields to $1,500. So that makes it easier on them, makes it easier on us. We know what to budget every year. We know what to expect. So
I just wanted to share too, if you don't mind, really quick about the growth, because he kind of touched on this. In the last 10 years, because I've been a part of the association for 10 years now, this is the largest registration we've had for baseball in general. So we've been able to put together 2 teams on every division, and we have 4 divisions. So
Oh, good.
the total number of kids on average, we normally have about 120. This year, we have at least 300 kids in our program.
Wow.
Football, last year, we started with 3 kids in training camps during midsummer. We ended up with 77 kids, and 85% of that with kids actually attend Everman ISD. And so I say that, and it's important for us because the league we're in requires us to have a majority percentage of Everman kids. So the kids that we're actually impacting are right here in our community. So that's been a big focus for us too. I thought I'd share that with you guys.
Thank you. Yes.
Very good. Well, the bathrooms,
Yeah.
we've got to come up with a plan for the bathrooms.
well, sir, we're about to
They're-
start budget. So
They're horrible.
keep that one in mind.
So, we kept the same partitions and stuff up, and they're rusted out. We need that floor done right with some type of epoxy or something that with these guys could go in there with just water hose and spray it off. Eventually, at some point, we know we got to get to the stainless steel.
I made this pitch the other day when we were out there at opening day that, the sports sponsorship programs, a big opportunity for both the city and the sports association to invest that money right back into those parks and those facilities. And, it's not just one person that can go out there and get sponsorships. So, helping spread that word and educating folks that the sports sponsorship programs out there, and that money goes right back into those fields to affect those kids is great. The more we can spread that word, the better.
Are there any more grants that you can apply for, even the ones where you have to match?
Yes, we actually, the Texas Rangers just opened up their grant they do every year. It's a $10,000 grant. And I spoke with Frank about that the other day. We're looking to get with the association to find out and try to identify all the needs that they have and can put out there. But it's dedicated towards baseball field improvements or equipment for the association. So one of the two. So we're gonna get together and brainstorm on exactly what it is. I don't think that they would cover bathroom facilities necessarily, but there's other things out there that we need to address as well. We've talked about they needed batting cages, improved seating, covered seating. We talked about improved lighting out there. There's a lot that could be done there that I believe this grant would help us towards. We are also looking at any other park grants we can find. Lexipol has been great at getting us a 52-page list of available grant opportunities out there that we're sifting through now to try to get find out what's going to be the best fit for us. So we're going to continue to pursue those grant opportunities.
Didn't we not too long ago replace the lighting?
Not at the baseball fields. The baseball fields had brand new fencing and brand new scoreboards put up. The lighting is still the older halogen lighting.
Just bulbs.
And we're having, just the bulbs. And we're having a lot of problems with the electrical out there because of how old it is. I did get a quote back from Bean Electric to revamp the electrical at the baseball fields, and it was over $600,000. So that one was put on the back burner for the time being until we can try to find some funding opportunities to help.
Do you not get 2 or 3 other estimates versus just being?
We do when we go to the bid process, but typically when we get one estimate, what we do is we use that estimate as an average. So we know that other companies are going to bid that project within a certain percentage of what that original bid came in, whether it be higher or lower. Even if it came in $100,000 lower, we're still talking about $500,000. It was a big investment. So we've just kind of tabled that for the time being until we can find a grant opportunity that fits that need, and we can apply for that grant.
So is that why the lights are not on Johnson Park basketball court many nights?
No, ma'am, that is a timer issue at the light. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I
We
don't-
need to get the timers fixed.
We do, yeah.
Those people, I'm out there
yes.
Pokemoning and it's pitch dark and they're throwing the balls at where they think the basket might be.
Yeah.
That we should have that fixed by now.
We have fixed it several times. Well,
The timer keeps breaking.
okay.
So is that electrical? If the timer keeps breaking or something?
There are significant electrical issues at Johnson Park. Yes, the electrical work at Johnson Park needs to be entirely reworked, which that was included in that $600,000 quote, was
The
doing all new
pavilion and
electrical, all new underground, all new circuits, breakers, everything was all coupled into one.
Okay, so we got a motion second to approve the Everman Sports Field Event Rental Agreement Contract as amended. Could you poll the council?
Yes, sir. Place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
place 6.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
You got it, Frank.
Thank you.
Frank, thank you. You will be a great leader. Thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Next item is executive session. We have none. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, item 10, city manager's report.
I don't have anything other than to update you on the Civic Center that there is another little small delay where we were originally told mid-May. Now we're looking at towards the end of May. They were working on getting me an exact timeline earlier today. I just have not received that. So that's about the only other information I've got right now.
Any update on Columbine?
Oh, ma'am, I forgot to ask Gilbert about that today. He was looking into that for me. But I will get that to you and I'll email it to you.
How far along are they on the tanks on the PD well site?
About 50% of the way through.
Okay.
They're going to start the parking lots on Monday, Pittman Park, Memorial Park, Food Park.
You know, it's supposed to rain this
That
weekend.
one's gonna be, that one's gonna be the last one of those. It won't bother them. They're gonna get in here and grade all this anyway, so and put fill dirt and all that below.
I've been watching them rivet the water tower, the water tank together
By hand,
next door to Hummel.
I have a question.
yes,
The stop signs that have the flashing lights, the solar,
yes.
how much are those?
About $800 a piece per light.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay, I had somebody ask me, and they said they wanted to know because they might be willing to even donate one for an area they were talking about at the time, and I said, well, let me find out first how much they are.
Yeah, they're about $800 per lot.
Thank
Per
you.
lot.
Are ours not working properly because they're not getting enough sunlight?
Yeah, the wire they sent, it needs to be reworked, and it's going to be reworked when we redo Race Street. We've
Okay.
got new cables and stuff that are coming in. Those batteries are also now 2 years old, because we bought those well before they were actually installed. So they sat there, they need new batteries and new cables to go into, to improve the overnight functioning of them.
Because it doesn't flash. It goes on the left, flick, 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 flick,
Yes.
flick, flick, flick.
That's indicating the batteries having issues.
Hey, got your attention, though, didn't it?
Yes, it's like, why haven't they fixed that yet? That's how it got my attention.
Because they're $800 a piece, man. And we've been, you remember that $1.5 million increase we did? We've had to cut
Yeah,
corners
that's
here
an
to
awful
make it happen.
expensive battery.
Okay, mayor's report, I don't have anything. So with that being said, we are adjourned. The time is 7:40.